Well, another rest day and another loss for the world champion Magnus Carlsen, who is now sharing last place in the tournament in Norway. And he's actually one game away from losing his #1 spot on the world chess rating list. For example, if Kramnik wins the next game and Carlsen loses the next game, then Vladimir Kramnik will be unofficially the world #1 on the live chess rating list. So let's see the game. The first couple of moves are all standard theory, so we're just going to fast forward through those. E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight C6, Bishop C4, Bishop C5, the Italian game, C3, Knight F6, D3, D6, white castles, A6, Rook to E1, Bishop to A7, A4, black castles, H3, Knight to E7, D4, Knight to G6, Knight to D2, C6, Bishop to D3, Rook to E8, Bishop to C2, H6, Knight to F1, E takes D4, C takes D4, C5, D5, B5, A takes B5, A takes B5, Knight to G3, Bishop to D7, Bishop to E3, Bishop to B6, white captures on A8, Queen recaptures on A8, and now B4. And this is where the fun starts. So the pawn can't be taken because the bishop on B6 is pinned. So Carlsen protects it, Queen to A7. And here, Kramnik offers a trade of queens, playing Queen to A1. And this is where Carlsen didn't really see anything in the position, and probably should have played Rook to A8, protecting the queen. And if the queens come off the board, this is very much playable, although white's pawn structure is somewhat better. But Carlsen played Queen to C7, and this is a move Carlsen totally missed. Bishop takes H6. And now the bishop can't be taken because simply queen will take on F6. So Carlsen takes on B4, C takes B4, opening the attack on the bishop on C2. And here Kramnik plays bishop takes G7. And now the bishop can be taken because if king takes bishop, then simply knight h5 check. And this pins the knight on f6 since it's pinned by the queen on a1. This is winning. So on bishop takes g7, Carlsen played a queen takes c2, and here Kramnik plays queen takes f6, and already this is very unpleasant for black. The king is under attack, and it doesn't look good for him. Although black does have this nice attack on the f2 pawn, which Carlsen thought was okay. And this is probably another position where Carlsen made a mistake. He probably should have captured with the bishop. And after maybe king to h2, play queen c3 and try to exchange queens. Maybe relieve the pressure a bit. But after queen to f6, Carlsen took with the queen on f2. So king to h2, and now bishop to d8. He's trying to go into the complications. Queen to d6, grabbing this nice pawn, which will be very important. Now this d pawn is looking very nice. And Carlsen plays knight to h4, threatening checkmate on g2. And Kramnik takes the knight, bishop takes h4, and now Kramnik plays knight to h4. And here Carlsen immediately takes, bishop takes h3, again threatening mate on g2. But it seems Kramnik saw all this because he immediately played rook to g1. And this is already a very hard position to play for black, because if white gets only one move, he will simply play queen to h6, and mate on h8 is unstoppable. So Carlsen tries to prevent this, bishop to g5. And Kramnik here plays bishop to f6. Now this is I don't know. I saw an analysis of an engine that says that with the best defense, this is a mate in 28 moves. So I don't think Kramnik saw all the variations and that he saw the mate to the 28th move, but he's human and he probably knows this is winning. So the bishop cannot be taken. So Carlsen tries bishop to g4. And here Kramnik takes, bishop takes g5. Carlsen takes, bishop takes h5. And queen h6. Here Carlsen takes on e4. And queen takes on h5. And now Kramnik is a whole piece up. Carlsen tries queen to f5. And now queen to h6. Carlsen is trying to get some counterplay on the queen side, and he tries pushing his pawn, but it's very much too late. Bishop to f6, threatening checkmate on g7 and on h8, and black has no more moves, so the only continuation is queen to f4 check, exchanging the queens. Kramnik happily takes. The queens are off the board, but Kramnik is a piece up. And Kramnik just pushes his pawn to d6. That's why it was very important to grab that pawn. And the pawn cannot be stopped because the bishop prevents the rook from going to d4. So Carlsen has to take. Rook takes on f6, and now simple rook d1. Rook to h6 check, one more move before surrendering king to g1, and it's all over. Carlsen resigns. It's impossible to stop the pawn, and even pushing his own pawn on b3 doesn't help. So a very nice game and a very nice recovery by Vladimir Kramnik from his last round. This is by far, I think, the worst tournament Carlsen's played. I even read somewhere that his rating performance wasn't so low since 2007. So yeah, good game, Vlad. He's, you know, I don't know if he's playing that well or if Magnus is simply playing that bad, because overlooking bishop h6 is just so far below him. But yeah, that's the game. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon.